On behalf of the University of Strathclyde, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to you, to this congregation for the conferment of degrees here in the Barony Hall. It is a very special day in the university calendar. It's a graduation day, which makes it a day of celebration for our graduates, for the family and friends, and indeed for all of the staff of the university. And I can't think of a better venue in which to start that celebration than here in the Barony. In the United States, they refer to these events as commencement ceremonies, as they use them to celebrate the beginning of a new journey as opposed to an ending. And it is in this spirit that we also wish to celebrate graduations at the University of Strathclyde. Now, in a few moments, it will be my privilege to cap each of our graduates as their name is called out and they come up on stage to receive their award. The capping tradition has its roots in ancient China, and it's recognised as a rite of passage and as a mark of achievement. And for each of our graduates once capped, they're now part of a community of scholars at the University of Strathclyde that can stretch back over 200 years to the Scottish Enlightenment, so they'll be in very good company. At the start of this afternoon's ceremony, we have the conferment of an honorary degree, and these are awards that are made by the university to recognise a particular contribution that someone has made during their career. And we'll hear a little bit more about that contribution in a few moments. At the close of graduation, we have a reception in our nearby Lord Todd building to which everyone is invited to come along. We also intend to have an academic procession from the Barony over to the Lord Todd. This normally depends upon the weather, but today I think our luck is in. It's beautiful weather, and I'm pretty sure we'll have an academic procession at the close. In the meantime, I do hope that you enjoy the ceremony, and when you see your loved one come on stage to receive their award, I would strongly encourage you to celebrate. These occasions do not come around very often, and for many, they're once in a lifetime, so please make the most of it. I now formally declare that this congregation for the conferment of degrees is open, and I invite Professor Tony Mulholland to present our honorary graduate to receive his award. Thank you.
Vice Principal, I have the honour to present to you Professor Peter Grindrod. He's an extremely unusual example of a high-profile mathematician. He's just as much at home in the boardroom as he is in the classroom. He can prove a complicated theorem on the blackboard, and then he can explain why it is important to a group of potential investors. He teaches students how to do useful mathematics, and he also teaches students how to sell their skill set to the outside world. He is a highly cited and influential academic, and also a successful serial entrepreneur, government advisor, fundraiser, TED speaker, and advocate for science. One of Peter's main philosophies, which has shaped his own career, is that we should have the courage to move outside our comfort zones. He began his academic life at the universities of Dundee and Oxford, working on traditional topics in applied mathematics. He then moved into industry, working on risk assessment issues in the oil sector. An epiphany happened in the late 1990s. He spotted that large supermarkets, such as Tesco, were gathering important data through their loyalty cards, and he co-founded a company called Numbercraft Limited, which set about developing mathematical tools that add value to this data. The company employed PhD-level mathematicians and rapidly won business from all the major UK grocery retailers. Numbercraft was designed as a 5-year project and successfully exited on time through trade sale to Lawson Software. Peter was subsequently awarded a CBE in 2005 for services to mathematics research and development. In his current professorial role at the University of Oxford, he is building bridges across a number of academic communities, bringing mathematical colleagues together with those in computer science, business, social science, internet studies, economics, and neuroscience. He was also instrumental in establishing the Alan Turing Institute, the national government-funded Centre for Data Science. He led outreach activities that secured significant external funding for the Alan Turing Institute, including a £10 million investment from the Lloyd's Register Foundation. In Oxford's Mathematical Institute, he also raised £10 million of funding from Emirates to set up the Oxford Emirates Data Science Centre, where he serves as director. This is by far the largest currently active non-research council grant mathematical institute, and it considerably raises the profile of the mathematical sciences community within the data science arena. You might also spot him at London Heathrow's disused Terminal 1, not because he has a poor sense of direction, but because he works alongside security forces during simulated terrorist attacks in order to develop actionable real-time analytics by crowdsourcing relevant social media data. He also cares about issues of ethics and privacy around the use of data. He has spoken and published on these topics and recently co-authored the Oxford Munich Code of Practice for professionals working within corporate data science teams. We have been fortunate that Peter has served as a visiting professor at Strathclyde for several years. He has raised the profile of Strathclyde within the Alan Turing Institute, for example, by co-hosting the first of their scoping workshops on city analytics at our City Observatory in 2015. He has also involved Strathclyde researchers in large-scale grant applications and serves on the advisory board of our £6 million city analytics project in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics, run jointly with Manchester, Oxford and Imperial College. Overall, it's a great pleasure to see Peter's singular combination of talent, vision, good humour, gallousness, and enthusiasm recognised through the award of this honorary degree. It was great pleasure, therefore, Vice Principal, that, with the authority of Senate, I ask you to confer upon Professor Peter Grinrod the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
Science, honoris causa. Many congratulations.
Wow, thanks Tony. Thank you everybody. I'm honoured and humbled to be given this award by Strathclyde. It's a university that I've had good times working here with members of staff since I was a graduate student at the University of Dundee. Now today, every one of you graduating has achieved a very significant milestone. You're graduates and no one will be able to take that away from you. Wherever you go, whatever you do, we're all now part of this university's extended family, and I hope you've all been educated to a lethal level. But you'll have gained more than just the degree. Look around you. You may have made friends for life. Perhaps like me, you've met your future partner, as I did when I met my wife Dora at university when we were undergraduates. On the other hand, this may be the last time that many of you will all be in the room together as you go in your different ways, seeking your different futures. So you should cherish the memories of the time spent here. But you're gaining something more than a degree today. You're celebrating the fact that you now have an ability, inculcated by your work here in Strathclyde, to be curious and to crystallize knowledge from a plethora of the surrounding information and noise that we all live in this modern society. This process is called distillation. It's a lovely word. Your skill for life is to be curious and to be analytical and distill important insights for increasingly complex environments in different areas of commercial and public life. Now, much of my work has been in a mathematical way or an entrepreneurial way within the digital economy and the digital society. Online, we consume and contribute information all of the time, and we expect to have everything everywhere, 24/7. And if you read the Glasgow Herald today, you'll see that Scotland's called out by the Tech Nation report as being particularly successful in creating new businesses, new jobs within the digital economy, and rivaling the Scottish cities of Glasgow and Edinburgh, rivaling anything that is going on elsewhere in the United Kingdom. Something to be proud of and something to build upon. Our lives have never been more deluged with information, truth, and fakery. And in the time it takes for an undergraduate to get a degree, we see small companies become very, very large companies, and very, very large companies can implode and disappear. So the timescales have all shortened, and they will shorten further. Platforms converge, so we consume media in different ways, and that acceleration of growth and development means that careers telescope. And it may be, like me, you'll have a career with a succession of careerlets, where you do different things at different times, as the opportunities or ambitions present themselves. That's what happened to me, and it may happen to many of you. Change brings opportunities, and acceleration of change brings an acceleration of opportunities. The digital society is really the new industrial revolution. I found personally that each time I changed direction in my career, I realized afterwards that I'd really been coasting for the last couple of years. And the change gave me a kick to adapt, to be curious, to invent new things, to apply new mathematics, and to attempt to do things I hadn't thought about before. So that's what we carry with us. Books and authors, books, whether real or digital, they're the receptacle of ideas. And ideas are exciting, thrilling, and sometimes dangerous. So I can date changes in my philosophy for the times when I read particular books or was influenced by particular authors. Two examples would be Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow, or E.T. Jane's book with the racy title, Probability, the Logic of Science. Some books are very hard to get into, but they repay you. Your scholarship and endeavour that you have gained from your courses will equip you to read critically, analytically, and objectively. Our education hasn't finished, and it should not finish. Some of the most important things I learned were when I put into practice ideas about mathematics and analytics that came long after my own undergraduate degree ceremony. So learning is lifelong for all of us. Now, in my own discipline of mathematics, mathematical sciences, this is the most curious of all the sciences, because all the observations, the experiments, the discoveries, they all take place in our heads. Therefore, a good imagination and a minimum of common sense are what is required. Mathematics is the science of abstraction. We often see links between practical problems from very different fields. Mathematics should not be undervalued or underestimated, because it is ideas from mathematics, even something like Google PageRank, that becomes transformative, that changes the game forever and produces opportunities for growth and for learning. As mathematicians, we spend a lot of time working in a solitary way with a blank sheet of paper. But it's fun to share ideas. And I think the most important thing in wherever you work is to have a fine balance between your own solitary effort and the ability to play team. It's very exciting to share ideas and achievements with others. And across all the sciences, that is what we should encourage. We should be gentle and kind with each other and allow each other to contribute in a creative way. So moving forward from this achievement, I urge you all to be alive to the accelerating pace of change in society and in the economy and all of those things evolving around us. To make the very best of all your opportunities. To grow through absorbing and encouraging the ideas of others. And to look back with affection, wonder, and pride on the time well spent here at the University of Strathclyde. Thank you very much.
Vice Principal, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research in the Department of Pure and Applied Chemistry, Leila Kamis Humaid Al-Makbali. Melissa Black. Peter Sharp Campbell. Florimund Cumin. Samuel Edward Dalton. Stuart Cameron Davidson. Joseph Edward Dixon. Robert Joseph Griffiths. Julia Faye Hislop. Christopher Gordon McPherson. Kim Miller. John James Malloy. James Norman Sanderson. Elena Sandoval Izquierdo. Jonathan Andrew Spencer. Jason Douglas Williams. For research in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics, Fatima Hussein Habib Al-Mukahal. Tagreed Mohammed Jawa. Craig Stewart MacDonald. Michael Nolan. Matthew James Sheeran. For the degree of Master of Science in Forensic Science, Syed Abdul Muntakim Hamid. For the degree of Master in Science in Applied Chemistry and Chemical Engineering, Lisa Jane Cowling. Gemma Elizabeth Craig. Callum Howcutt. David Thomas Jenkins. Lisa Claudia Bazant. Jasmine Clough. Karina Mulholland. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Andrew Robert Callender. Gemma Campbell. Harvey Jack Deedens. Daniela Dimitrova. David Kevin Leonard. Charlie Rolt Logan. Siobhan McCulloch. Martin Gerard Lewis Merrilees. Declan Mullen. Stuart James Stables. Garen Thomas. Bradley Wilson. Darren Andrew Wilson. Scott Andrew Brown. Jennifer Bruce Campbell. Harry James Dare. Fraser Andrew Stewart Gunn. Stuart Russell Cahill Lynch. Andrew Paul Hugh Robertson. Kestrina McKendry. In Forensic and Analytical Chemistry, Lauren Nicole Christie. Molly Jane Hogg. Jennifer Rachel Scott. Michael Thomas Whitelaw. Cameron Laurie Winterburn. Elaine Gray. Carmen Andrea Meyer. Mark Stockwell. Brian Wickham. In chemistry with drug discovery, Kenneth Forbes Clark. Eamon William Connor. Jennifer Duffy. Katie Gilpin. Gillian Christina Laidlaw. Heather Jill Lochhead. Henny Carolina Roponen. Faye Elizabeth Callender. Lewis Edward Cater. Rebecca Ann Dale. Emma Christina Edwards. John Connor Townsley. Benjamin David Watson. Matthew Fraser. Bethany Jane Pringle. In chemistry with teaching, Samantha Owens. For the degree of Master of Mathematics in Mathematics, Andrew James Mitchell. In Mathematics and Statistics, John Henry Irving Argue. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Catherine Amphlett. John Anthony Connolly. Nicole Ralston. Alan Kilkenny Richardson. Martin John Robb. Luke Matthias Roebuck. Nicholas Paul Ainsworth. Joshua Seasway Field Arthy. Daniel Robert Clark. Darren Calhoun. Andrew Coombe. Mark John Corrigan. Michael William Fraser. Catherine Grace Halley. Fraser Lloyd. Caitlin McCall. Samuel Angus Maitland. Victoria Suevkowska. Ian Cameron Taylor. Alan David Tolan. Daniel John Wallace. Ailsa Wright. Tony Devine. Mohammed Haji Abdurrahman. Alexander Charles Napper. Anna Louise MacLeod. Sean Murray. Kelsey Sarah Telfer. Caitlin Wright. Niall Andrew Simpson. In chemistry with analytical chemistry, Nicole Tate. Holly McGregor. Milena Valentina Molinari. Dean Sutherland. In chemistry with forensic chemistry, Safa Mohammed Salim Al-Sumri. Caitlin Blackaby. Dean Paul Milligan. In chemistry with drug discovery, Lee Bryans. Kirsten Louise Ireland. Shireen Hamid. Fiona Elizabeth Park. Erin Walsh. Fraser William Black. Zoe Victoria Brown. Claire Louise Haddo. In applied chemistry, Amy Louise Crawford. David Neil Kerr. Jennifer Mitchell Maxwell. In chemistry, professional experience, Sarah Marie Gallagher. Agnes Haney. David Riley. In chemistry with teaching, Hannah Duthie. In mathematics, Jacob Peter Aitchison. Fiona Elizabeth Chalmers. Rachel Jane Evans. Andrew David Keith Mayer. James Daniel Riley. Jonah Caroline Roden. Joanna Theodora Vaduva. Jill Elizabeth Barlow. Andrew Joseph Gregory Robertson. Kamil Ziemkowski. Rachel Colligan. Sasha Agnes McKenna. Katie Elizabeth McMahon. Rebecca Jade Ross. Amy Stalker. Chun Ming Jonathan Chan. Connor Sanderson. Rebecca Taylor Barnes. In mathematics and statistics, Georgina Mary Bevan. Andrew James William McCulloch. Santiago Villota Stella. Damien Versbitsky. Sophie Crawford. Hayden Eves. Taylor Derek Keith. Amy Milligan. Lucy Ann Mowat. Kerry Nolan. Rebecca Paul. Callum Purdy. Amy Sheridan. Ryan Stewart. Madeline Elizabeth Tognini. Susie Fall. Lauren Gallagher. Alice Ann Hanna. Catherine Elizabeth Jones. Yang Liu. Callum Mackenzie. Thomas McNay. Thomas Needach. Thomas McNay.
Joseph Needach.
That was him. So we're on to Elizabeth Mary. Elizabeth Mary Robertson. Larry Scott. Scott Mills. In mathematics and computer science, Kevin Logan. Aidan Joseph Killen. In mathematics and physics, Tom Bentenner. Mark Anthony Carroll. Alistair Stirling Ferguson. Magdalena Joanna Lesniewska. Dylan Brian McClue. Ailey Claire McFarlane Malkin. Declan Lavan. Simona Antonova Georgieva. Scott Kuhn. In mathematics, statistics, and accounting, Matthew James Devine. Emma Mackenzie. Aisha Anissa Shafi. In mathematics, statistics, and economics, Jerzy Jacek Bednarski. Catriona Gale Scott. David Gillis Marie Jean Oriol. Rachel Hay. Kira Holland. In mathematics, statistics, and finance, Jack McKenna. Rian Hamid Said. Bianca Stephanie Deladia. Daniel Green. Amy Herbert. Rebecca Hughes. Emma Smith. David Carson. Noor Rifai. In mathematics with teaching, Alana Marie Doherty. Lucy Norma McClymont. Matthew Edward Simpson. Bethany Burns. Kyle Cousins. Lauren Turnbull. Kieran McConville. Katie Rice. Gemma Louise Ross. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for research in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics, Ibrahim Ate Atullah Al-Gehayen.
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, and most of all, Strathclyde University's newest graduates, it's my pleasure to once again warmly welcome you to our graduation ceremony here in the Barony Hall. Quite rightly, our graduates have been centre stage, and I would like to begin my address by congratulating all of you once again on your academic achievements. Your hard work has paid off, and this has now been recognised in front of your families, friends, and the staff who taught and supported you during your time at the university. And under the lights of this magnificent venue, we celebrate your efforts and your achievements. Well done indeed. Now, in a short while, at the close of graduation, you will be asked to join the academic procession as this leaves the Barony Hall. This invitation actually symbolises the fact that you are no longer students, but full members of the academic community of Strathclyde, a community that numbers over 170,000 individuals. The class of 2018 is graduating at a time of considerable change in Scotland, in the UK and internationally, and there is no doubt that challenges lie ahead for us all. However, as members of the Strathclyde family, you belong to a large, growing worldwide community with a shared ethos of tolerance and understanding and a desire to make a positive difference. I hope that the memory of today is something that will stay with you wherever you go and whatever you choose to do in life. We will keep in touch with you through our alumni team, and I would ask that you also keep in touch with us. Let us know what you are up to, what you think about what we are doing at the university, and what you could do to help future generations of students. As graduates of a socially progressive university, you have a competitive advantage, having been equipped with the skills, know-how, and capacity to absorb knowledge together with the ability to positively influence and shape the world around you. Nelson Mandela once said that education was the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Do not underestimate this power or your responsibility to use it well. In Scotland, we are fortunate in having a higher education system which is internationally respected. And as a society, we are quite right to invest in it. Education broadens the mind and creates opportunities for individuals and for society. However, education itself does not confer rights. The opportunities that education gives each of us also carries with it a responsibility to use what we have learned wisely and for the good of others. A sense of duty should come readily to graduates of this university. As Strathclyders, we only have to look to the achievements of those who have gone before us for our inspiration. To John Anderson, our founder, who established this university for the good of mankind. To the world's first oil man, James Paraffin Young. To the missionary and explorer, David Livingstone. To John Logie Baird, who did such pioneering work on the development of television. In the present day, we look to Dame Eilish Angelini, a pioneer in Scottish justice as the country's first female Solicitor General and later its first female Lord Advocate. And to Sir Tom Hunter, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Scottish history and a philanthropist who has used his wealth to the great benefit of others around the world. I am sure that you have been given lots of advice on how best to plan your life. Some of this advice you will rightly ignore, some you may accept, but most you will have to learn for yourself. Robert Louis Stevenson put it well when he said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." Now, to reach this point in your lives today, each of you will have travelled a different journey. For some, the path will have been relatively smooth. For others, this may have been more challenging. However, I am certain of one thing, that none of you would be here without the active support of your family and friends. They have picked you up when you have been down, they have encouraged you when you have needed it, and many will be here today, proudly watching as you cross this stage with broad smiles and the odd tear in the eye. Now, they are celebrating today, not just because you're almost off the payroll, some of that might be in it, but because you carry with you their hopes, their wishes, and confidence for a successful career. For the past half hour or so, their applause has rung in your ears as you each in turn crossed this stage to receive your awards. I would now like to invite all of our graduates to show their appreciation for the support received from their family and friends. I touched earlier on some of the key figures who have helped to create and shape the University of Strathclyde. and you can tell a lot about the values of an organisation by looking at its roots. Strathclyde traces its lineage back to 1796, when Anderson brought it into being, the only Scottish university founded during the Age of Enlightenment and embodying the Enlightenment principles of reason, tolerance and equality. Anderson's belief in useful learning and his commitment to taking knowledge and using this for the greater good is the motivating force which gives Strathclyde University its momentum today. This can be seen in our pioneering law clinic, where our students provide support and representation to people who cannot afford legal advice. And it can be seen in our business school, named the 2016 UK Business School of the Year in the prestigious Times Higher Education Awards. It can also be seen in our Technology and Innovation Centre, which is transforming the way in which academics collaborate with business, industry and the public sector to bring global competitive advantage to Scotland. And this is a tangible sign of the university's commitment to world-class research and ensuring that outcomes have maximum benefit to society and to the economy. They represent a small sample of the many innovative projects being led by our world-class staff and students, taking new knowledge and using it to solve problems in industry, in the classroom and in the boardroom. I'm especially pleased to note that we are developing our campus to enable us to do even more. We have a new £31 million Sports Health and Wellbeing Centre, along with a £20 million district energy network, both due for completion this year. And we're about to begin work on a £60 million learning and teaching facility in the heart of the campus, bringing our total investment in our estates to more than £650 million in the last 10 years. Other science faculty highlights over the year include biopharmaceutical company MGB Biopharma, which was awarded nearly £3 million from Innovate UK to take forward clinical trials of a Clostridium difficile anti-infective, which was developed at Strathclyde. PhD student Jason Williams of Pure and Applied Chemistry won a bronze award in the STEM for Britain competition held at the House of Commons. Research Associate Dr. Holly Butler of Pure and Applied Chemistry won the Women in Innovation category of the Global Game Changers Awards. Dr. Katie Tant of Mathematics and Statistics has been awarded a prestigious UKRI Fellowship to develop new mathematical systems for fault detection in safety-critical structures such as nuclear plants and aircraft engines. Mathematics and Statistics student Holly MacArthur competed with Scotland's athlete squad at the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. And Dr. Francesca Arrigo of Mathematics and Statistics has been awarded a Leverhulme Fellowship to create new mathematical frameworks for the study of smart and sustainable cities. Now, these are just some of the many contributions being made by our staff and our students across the Faculty of Science. And Strathclyde is being increasingly recognised as a place where things happen, and this is why our graduates are so highly prized by companies and organisations looking to recruit the best talent to drive their businesses forward. Our success is in no small part due to the collective efforts and talent and commitment of our staff, the 3,200 colleagues who deliver our vision as a leading international technological university. Like me, they're very proud of your achievements. All of our students learn how to be innovative, enterprising and creative, and they make a real difference when they go out into the workplace. So wherever your career takes you, always remember that as a Strathclyde graduate, useful learning carries with it responsibilities that go beyond academic scholarship. And finally, let me offer my sincerest congratulations to you all once again on your achievements, and I hope that you enjoy the remainder of what is a very special day. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that now concludes the formal part of this afternoon's proceedings, which I hope you've enjoyed and you'll take away very many happy memories. I can see that the weather has stayed very bright and dry, so we will have an academic procession over to the Lord Todd to where we have a reception, and I would invite you again to come along and join with us as we have some refreshments. If I could ask, ladies and gentlemen, for you to remain in the hall until the academic procession has passed, then thereafter follows over to the reception in the Lord Todd. I now formally declare that this congregation for the conferment of degrees is closed.